Hey YouTube, Hella Bella here. This video is about my sales for my antique booth from the month of April 2018. So as you can see here, we have a breakdown from my mall owner about my sales for the month. This pretty much has all the information that you need. Gross sales, which is total revenue, $210. Their commission is 10%, and then my booth rent is $60 a month. So my check was $129, and then from that amount you would have to deduct cost of goods to get your actual profit. So let's go look at my very old-fashioned sheet here. So this is where I deduct my cost of goods from this, and I actually taped this in my journal because I just thought it was kind of cool. My first 2 months of an antique booth as a 23-year-old. I really want to remember this when I get older, and I just think, man, look how much money I was making. I didn't know what I was doing. Anyways, cost of goods for the month. The way I calculate that is I go make a list of everything that's sold, and then I just kind of go by what I paid for that item. So that just kind of lets me know in real time how much money that I'm making, and this does not reflect the amount that I have invested in all the items that are sitting in the booth. So you have to take that into account too, as well as any items that you may have at your house waiting to go in the booth. So I don't want to downplay that it's not something that you can just get into on a whim. If you have a lot of stuff already, this might be something that you want to consider doing. However, if you are just like me, I had not one single item to go in that booth when I told the antique mall owner that I could get a booth. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll pull it together. I knew that if I really hustled, I could find stuff. And I also kind of knew, like, I don't want to just start with a bunch of stuff because I want to see what actually sells and go from there. As I wrote down right here, I'm still learning what sells, but I've had a lot of fun maintaining the booth, so I'm going to continue with it. My favorite stuff to sell has been pictures and quirky stuff. So I like to sell the weird shit. I like to sell the stuff that people are just like buying as a joke, or they're getting a laugh out of it. I sold that leg, the one that is in the picture a couple videos back of me holding up a leg and a mannequin at the end, or at the auction. Sold that leg for $5. I got the mannequin, the leg, and another mannequin for $1 at the auction because nobody would bid on it. I guess they were all too embarrassed. But it's been really fun so far. It's been one of those things that I don't know, like, I'm not making a lot of money off of it, but I'm getting a lot of enjoyment out of it, so I'm going to keep doing it and keep trying to improve. I definitely saw sales go up from last month. I think last month my sales were around like 150 maybe. So sales are going up. Last month my check was like $99. So this check has gone up quite a bit. So let's go see what's sold. So here is a very, very short list, but meticulously made, of everything that's sold. So last video, I believe I had the tickets, and I just showed you guys one at a time. Well, this was kind of me going over everything, so I wanted to look at what sold and go from there. So this, you'll see the breakdown of what the item is, what it sold for, and how much it cost me. So this was sort of an activity that I did for my, my own well-being, whatever. You can see here that my cost of goods was $42, and total revenue was like, let's see, $129. I think, yeah. There's also some stuff missing because I think I had some cash in my, maybe like $30 cash in my envelope besides my check. So if you see some accounting errors, that's where that's coming in, because I sold 2 plant stands, I believe, for like $25 or $30. But let's go through this and check out what's going through the booth and what's kind of moving fast. The first item's a Muscle Shoals shirt, local shirt, cost me $1 at the thrift store, sold it for $4. Nothing to write home about, but every shirt that I've put in the booth has sold, so I guess I have a good picker when it comes to shirts, bad picker when it comes to men, as my grandma would say. Number 2 was a cake holder donated to the booth by my very own grandma, who gave me that phrase. The cake holder was just a rusty old crappy cake holder. Got it for nothing, sold it for $5. This violin, I got that to sell on eBay originally, paid $5 for it, sold it for $12. This is something that this is the kind of item that I like because it moved in like a week or two, really. It wasn't even in there. It wasn't in there very long at all. Sold that for $12. That's a good profit margin for an antique booth. One thing I'm learning is that you want to double your cost of goods. So I want to be able to sell it for, okay, here's 5, so I want to get 10, plus the markup of my booth rent and the antique mall owner fee. So maybe add $1 on for each thing, in general. So $12 is a good price point for that. Next item's a cat's eye pendant. This was a little pendant that goes on a necklace. I had that thing forever. I got it out of my jewelry cabinet, so I got it for $1 a long time ago and sold it for $3. Wall hanging macrame. You might have seen this in one of the previous videos. It was an old macrame, kind of like tapestry, maybe not really tapestry, but like threaded thing. Anyways, I got it at a yard sale for $3 and it sold for $25. So that has been one of the best flips in the booth so far. Next up's a wood shelf, very rustic, plain shelf that I got from a yard sale for $5, sold it for $15. I wanted to keep it because every time I get something set up really nice in the booth, someone buys whatever the display is. So I guess that's just part of it, and you have to learn to deal with that. But it's so frustrating when you like set everything up just the way you want it, and then it's like, boom, somebody bought it, all the stuff's on the floor, we got to start over. So that is one thing I've learned about the antique booth business in the last month. A scarf that I got for 50 cents, I sold it for $3. Scarves went on sale at the, I believe it was like Salvation Army for like $0.25, so I just grabbed a bunch, and maybe I paid $0.25 or 50 cents for it, but anyways, I just grabbed a bunch of those, and kind of, oop, I got my key that's coming up on my last video. Grabbed some of those and threw them in the booth. Whatever. I'm just throwing, ideas out there right now. I don't really know what I'm doing. The mannequin, I got my antique mall owner gave me this, and then it sold in the booth, and then we fight over who keeps the money or who doesn't. Whatever. I'm trying to give it to him. He's trying to give it to me. So the mannequin head on my blue wig doll, or my blue wig sold. So she is gone out of the booth, and that was a very interesting mannequin. I gotta tell you, that person got a deal on that thing because it was weird. Next up, safari hat. I actually sold this on the spot to an older gentleman. He was looking at the hat, and I was like, "You want that thing?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, just tell me how much you want to buy it for, and I'll sell it to you today." I was just wanting to make a deal. Something about being an entrepreneur, you just kind of, I don't know, just lights the fire to get a sale. Even though you see I made $0 off of it. But, that's one thing is when people come into the mall, they remember it, they talk about it, and they'll say, "Yeah, she made me a deal," whatever booth. Even if they don't remember my booth, they might remember the mall itself, and that's good for business at the end of the day, because you want that recognition of people coming back to the mall, telling their friends and family about it. And it is an extremely small town, so you really want that word of mouth marketing. Next up was a Tennessee tag. I got that for $2 at some thrift store, I think, and sold it for $5 in the mall. Nothing very interesting there, just an old tag. Blue picture, this is a dumpster dive find. I got it for $0 out of the dumpster and sold it for $4. Birdhouse, I got that for $1 at a yard sale, sold that for $7. The mall owner told me that birdhouses move really well in the booth, so maybe I will keep a lookout for those. Next were some bookends that were shaped like a globe. Those were really cool. I kind of wanted to keep those, but you can't keep everything. So I paid $4 and sold those for $12. There's I think that's a camera that I got from the auction for $1. Sold that for $8. Vintage camera, just kind of looks neat sitting on a shelf. Little shoe. I'm sure you guys know about the little shoes. What they are is little porcelain or glass shoes that old ladies collect, and an old lady bought it. I saw her check out with it. So Lord only knows why humans collect the things they do, but I'm glad. I grabbed that for 50 cents at a yard sale, sold that the same day I put it out, and she grabbed it. So that was a quick flip. Fish planter. My grandma gave me this as well. This was an old bass-shaped planter that I sold for $5. Primitive print. This picture I got for 99 cents at Goodwill. It was on the yellow tag sale or whatever. You know, they have a color that's always 99 cents. So when it's 99 cents, I go over there and look at the pictures because the margins on pictures are good when the price is 99 cents. So sold it for $7. So that was a good flip. Wooden cabinet for $9. Grabbed that from the auction. I'll tell you, that was a damn hassle getting that thing from the auction to the booth. I don't know if I would do that one again, but I guess if you're needing money, you know, that was a pretty good flip for the month. Good profit there from 9 to 50. Bracelet. I got that bracelet in Haiti years ago, so I put the cost to $0 because it was one of those things you just already have. I wasn't buying it to resell it, I just had it. Sold that for $3. Some cards I got for $1. They have Labrador retrievers on them. They're gorgeous, very fancy cards, playing cards. Sold those for $5. Another bracelet that I already had. I cleaned out my jewelry cabinet, y'all. Like, I'm telling you, I needed inventory in that booth. I was just going around the house grabbing things like, here, this can go, this can go, this can go. So yeah, that bracelet sold. Terrarium box. I think I bought that for me to make a terrarium out of, and then I was like, oh my god, you're never going to use this. So I got it for $2 and sold it for $3. Big whoop. Madonna record. A friend gave me this, so I sold that in the booth for her. That sold for $5. And then a record bowl. I have a bunch of bowls that I made. I went on a crafting binge one day and made all these bowls out of old records because it was my great grandfather's records, and a lot of them wouldn't play, but I thought, you know, how can I make use of this and still kind of keep him in my heart with the records? And so I made bowls out of the ones that I really liked, and the rest of them I've been giving away over the years, or just whatever, you know, they just kind of turn up places. Squirrel nutcracker, another thing from my dear grandma that she gave me to put in the booth. That sold in a couple of weeks for $5. I think I had original, maybe, no, I think I priced it at $5 and it sold for $5. What I've been doing is going in the booth like every 2 weeks and marking things down. Like if it was at 7, I'll mark it down to 5. If it was at 12, I'll mark it down to 9. I want to move stuff. I don't want stuff to just sit there. That's one thing I told the mall owners. I was like, if somebody wants a discount, you don't even have to call me. Just give them a discount. I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter to me one bit. I'm in this stuff for very little amount of money. So if somebody wants to make a deal, you make them a deal. Like, that's just how you do business if you want to stay in business. You can't just hold on to crap for, you know, months and months at a time because you want to get a little bit more money out of it. A lot of the booth owners price their stuff too high and their stuff just sits there. So you don't want to be the person whose stuff is just sitting there. I always want my booth to look different. I want it to look like a store that's constantly changing out their merchandise. So the last item was the clock, also given to me by a friend, so that one sold for $7. A good thing that going through this list does is it kind of gives you some projections of what stuff sells for. That's one thing that I like to watch the other vendors. One of them is Tam's Place, and also the Pudgy Picker. I love watching their videos because you kind of get an idea of, okay, this is kind of the price that is expected at antique malls for this type of item. I actually grabbed some purses from the Goodwill outlet for like $1 each that I'm going to try and flip in the booth. That was a tip that I picked up from the other resellers who have antique booths. But yeah, you can learn a lot just by watching other people's videos and seeing what kind of stuff they pick up. Of course, it varies from mall to mall, but as you know, as much as it varies, it's still very much the same type of business, so I think that you can learn a lot just from watching videos. But yeah, that's all I really have for you guys. The second month of business went well. I'm just glad that I made a profit and I didn't destroy anything, and I'm still learning a lot and making some great contacts and friends along the way. So thanks so much for watching.